Shalom, my name is Rabbi Uri Pilichowski, and I am your son's Hashkafa teacher. Hashkafa is an elective at Fasman Yeshiva High School, and your son chose to be in this class. He's interested in Hashkafa, Jewish philosophy, Emunah, whatever you would like to call it. And we have our class 4 times a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Chicago time. I actually live in Eretz Yisrael here in a place called Mitzvah Yericho, which is right outside of Yerushalayim on the way to Yam HaMelech, to the Dead Sea. And every night, my time, at about 10 p.m., I check in and teach your sons. This year we're going to be focusing on hashkafic topics, larger topics, general principles of Jewish philosophy. And so far the year has gone great. So far we had an introductory class about what is Jewish philosophy, what is hashkafa. The class was great. It was a great discussion. We talked about the difference between asking what, how, where, and when, which are more legal, halachic questions, and instead delving into the why. I explained that our class is all those questions that you wanted to ask during your other shiurim and during your other classes, but really it was never the time or place, it was never appropriate, didn't really fit into the daf of Gemara or the Chumash and the Rishonim that you were studying at that point. And now here's your chance to ask why about many different topics. We have a curriculum set forth now we moved on to the purpose of mitzvos and then teshuvah. I'm just looking at the curriculum here on the side. We're going to be talking about objective truth, and is there such a thing as objective truth in the Torah, meaning related to God's existence, and talking about idolatry, Avas and Yiras Hashem, different topics that are the foundations of our hashkafa. So that's an exciting class. Every week the Talmidim hand in a question, their own question related to anything on hashkafa, and on Thursdays in Shir we answer your children's questions. It gives them an opportunity to ask what's on their mind, and it's something I'm very proud of, that there are no boundaries, there's nothing that's out of line, there's no question that can't be asked, and together we delve into what's really troubling our students. And I think that the combination of the class, where we're delving into the principles of Jewish philosophy and also what's bothering them and what's on their minds, the two combined will put our students in a healthy way when it comes to hashkafa. It'll give them the chance to really relate to Torah, to Judaism, to hashkafas HaTorah in a very healthy way, which gives them a solid foundation to approach with the rest of their lives. We don't have any set hashkafa that we're keyed into. There's nothing that I'm trying to instill in the Talmidim, except for a love of questioning and a love of delving and trying to understand the answers in a methodological way. I want them to understand that we're not just pulling answers out and whatever sounds inspirational, that's the answer that we're going to give, but there's really a method to coming up with understanding the hashkafa of the Torah. And that's what I'm trying to teach. So it's not so much trying to teach a set of knowledge, of facts to the Talmidim. We cover those in terms of principles, but it's more about the process. It's more about the discussion. It's more about having them delving into things and trying to understand, and trying to really understand what they need to understand. Trying to figure out where the questions are, where the areas are in hashkafa and in Jewish philosophy that they're going to want to understand and want to know for the rest of their lives. We're also introducing people like the Rambam and the Ramban, the Rabbeinu Yonah, and all different types of Rishonim that dealt with hashkafic areas, along with seeing Gemaras, so that they have a background and understand that our Rishonim also dealt with these issues. They didn't just sit with halacha in front of them and then everything else was fine, but they struggled, and they also felt this challenge of trying to understand hashkafa. So that's really where our class is coming from. I don't demand so much work in terms of homework or tests. After every single unit, we do a reflection, which means that they have a couple of questions that I assign them that causes them to really take what they've learned and apply it either to their lives or move the next level. And as I want to see their thought process, I want to see how they're thinking of the issue. So I'm not asking them questions where they have to spit back what they've learned already, but really where they have to apply the knowledge and apply the methods that we use to reach the knowledge and the facts that we came to, and use that for the next step and use it for their next level of understanding. So those are the questions they get. They do those questions in class. After we're done with a certain sugya, with a different unit, then they move on forward to the next, to those questions. Once a week they have to hand in that question, like I told you, and it's not enough for them just to come up with it on the spot. They have to fill out a form where they submit the question so I can review the question beforehand, and if the question isn't up to par, if they're just trying to, throw in any question, I can say, no, you got to really push a little harder, you got to do more. You have to think of a real question, something that's really bothering you, and that causes them, when they're forced to think, then it causes them and says, you know what, I've always been worried about this, I've never really understood this thing, I really want to understand it. So that's really, I'm not going to give tests. I don't really see the purpose of giving tests in terms of testing their knowledge. We'll see if they're paying attention. I demand that they're not on their phones or anything else. I want to see their eyes. Their cameras always have to be on. They have to be sitting. They can't be lying down in bed or walking around or anything of that nature. If you need to be in touch with me, so although I am in Eretz Yisrael, I'm merely a phone call away or an email away. Feel free to be in touch with me if any concerns that you have, and also share with me some good news. If your sons come up with something at the Shabbos table or tell you about something interesting that they learned, so share that with me. I'd love to hear the good news as well. Okay, thank you so very much for watching this video, and I look forward to a great year.